Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. Last day of the month, last day of November as we get ready to go into December. Holiday season here in the United States. I'm looking forward to that. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market and the stock market and the altcoin market and the Bitcoin price chart, XRP, all that lovely stuff as we get ready for the stock market to open up here in the next 3 minutes to get a feel for what the market is looking like as we get ready to kick off the day. As we get set to go, it's been a couple minutes since I've checked on the stock market. Last I looked, it looks like we were going to have a positive opening. I still believe that to be true. Just take a peek real quick. Dow Jones up 180 points. S&P up 8 points, NASDAQ up 18 points. So the Dow is the one leading the way this morning as we get ready to open up for the stock market here in just a couple of minutes. Bitcoin still sitting up there at $37,746 as we get the day kicked off. The ranging grinding just keeps on going here as the altcoin market still just kind of keeps fighting its way on through here, hopefully in a sign of strength phase to shoot its way out of there. But as we get ready to wrap up November, a couple of interesting things out there. Just looking around at broader markets, really like we'll get to XRP later. Look at like the monthly candle over here on the Dow, right? Like that's a doozy, man. That's the Dow Jones Industrial Average taken back October, September, and August. And the question is, will it get the highest close here of the last year and a half? It's still got to go. How much more does it have to go from here? Let's go over here. Let's go to this one. You'd have to go to the actual Dow. I don't think the Dow Jones futures are going to matter for that. Let's see. What do you need to get here? So you need to close up about 150 points. So when it opens, it should open up right about there. But will it be able to close higher than that? That'll be the big question today as we go on. Man, check out gold. Gold. Unless gold has some big fall today. I mean, gold would have to fall nearly $50 from where it's at right now. So it's down $6 this morning, but it'd have to fall another 50 in order to not have the highest monthly close in the history of all time for gold. So that's what we're looking at today. This would be the first time a monthly candle would close above $2,000 if it's able to do that. So gold does close. I believe it closes a little bit after the stock market closes, so it doesn't close like exactly at the same time. So it closes a little bit later in the day. But man, look at that. You'd have to fall $50 for it to lose it. That'd be a pretty big loss there. Otherwise, we're looking at the highest monthly close for gold in the history of all time today, if that is able to sustain itself. So, all right, we'll take a peek over here at the market really quick. You can see over there on the right side of the screen, pretty mixed. It looks like market caps are about flat. You can see they're all sitting right here in the middle, hovering between green and red. So others, the altcoin market, excluding the top 10, it's up 0.11% today. The altcoin market is up 0.10% today. And the altcoin market, excluding Ethereum, is up 0.05% today, with the total market cap down 0.12%. Why is that? It's because Bitcoin's down 0.29%. So it's dragging the total market cap down, but those altcoin market caps are sitting slightly in the green. So really kind of a flat opening over here in the cryptocurrency market with a little bit of a mix happening in here. But Ethereum is a little slightly to the upside today. So we're still just kind of waiting along to see what our answer is going to be over here for Bitcoin until like some type of trend break happens in here, whether we get a trend break out and we just completely lose this slight grind and can start actually gaining some real breakout strength happening in here to leave this channel, or a breakdown. We just still haven't had it. We've been in here for about a month and a week in here, still waiting on something to occur in here. But otherwise, things are looking okay. Of course, we're at that scary zone of $38,000. I've presented that stuff for years. Let's get through it. How about that? We still have to wait, though. Looking over there at the altcoin markets, these things are all the same, right? Still just grinding through in here. So I don't think for today, there's going to be a whole lot to say that's a whole lot different. I think the interesting thing will just be see how the stock market goes today. So, things aren't changing as we sit right in here in this sign of strength phase, which we've been in here since the 9th. So today is the 30th. So that is officially now 3 weeks of being in this tight range right in here, which is to be expected. But it's just going to be staying in here until it finally gets out. So every day we come on here and be like, hey, we're still in the range. Things are still flat. But that's really kind of what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be kind of tightening up, coiling up, reducing volatility until we get a volatility explosion to end up happening in here. So things are normal, but nothing has changed too drastically today. With it being the last day of the month is always the busiest day of the month for me. It's practically insane. My entire family knows it, that when we lead into the last week of the month, I always have to sit down with my daughter and with my wife, and I go, do you guys know what week this is this week? They're like, huh? I'm like, it's the last week of the month. And they're like, oh, you're going to be a pleasure to be around. Essentially, I work my butt off in the last week of the month because there's so many different things that I do. One of them, putting out this giant newsletter over here, which I did publish here this morning. So I've talked about this yesterday, going through the top 100 from 2018, 19, and 20, and going through the inflation rates of these coins. You guys know it. All these things have inflation rates. We talk about Bitcoin so much. Bitcoiners love to brag about the halving, where the inflation rate gets cut in half every 4 years. So I said, all right, well, if we're going from 1.75% inflation for Bitcoin down to 0.875% inflation, let's take a look at the rest of the market and see if that impacts percentage returns. So I went through, found the inflation rate of the top 100, compared all of their returns to see, was there an actual correlation between inflation rate, which is what Bitcoiners completely hang their hat on, of complete magic. Is there that correlation or is there not? I will at least spoil a little bit, say, sorry, Bitcoiners, I think you're wrong. But there does seem to be some interesting stuff in here. Some stigmas, some dogmas get kind of crushed in here. Also, to find out, people ask me all the time about this article is not about XRP, but this is when I write these up in Word documents, I can kind of tell how long this is a 23 pager. So it's got a 28-minute audio recording, so I do read it to you if you want. But XRP's inflation rate at about 7%, it's actually right in a sweet spot that you actually kind of want to be at. And so I go through this data, and I think it's important to see it, kind of have an idea on where inflation rates were too high, finding out whether or not is it important to focus on that stuff. Like we have Ethereum right now, right? Ethereum slipped into that negative inflation rates and a deflation, right? Bitcoin at that 1.75 to 0.875. Does that automatically mean anything? I'll tell you right now, the data does not prove that it does. It doesn't prove that that is important to be that low. There are kind of sweet spots that we did see inflation rates of where higher performance happened at, and it didn't necessarily have to be down there near the bottom. So it was really interesting, but also does highlight the importance of how extremely high inflation rates do seem to kind of negatively impact performance. So what a doozy. I'm happy to have this one out. There's a ton of data in here, and I go through it all. And you can check that out with a 28-minute audio recording over there on blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's a link in the description of this live stream of this video, and I did just post it over there in the chat. Of course, you guys can always check out bcbacker.com for over 40 videos and over 11 hours of content from me. But as the month comes to an end, it is definitely the time where I am on the super grind. And hopefully by the end of today, like I told my daughter, if I'm done with everything, by the time you get home, we are going to set up Christmas decorations, because I don't know about you guys. She always asks about the elf. When does the elf arrive? And our elf did arrive yesterday. And his name is Vinny. And he had a note with him, and he said, hey, where are all the Christmas decorations? And my daughter's on edge of why don't we have our Christmas decorations up? And he's going to be upset at us. And so today we're supposed to get them set up. So hopefully I get all my work done by the end of the day, and we get Christmas going in this house. But yeah, that's the nice thing about the end of November and heading into December, man. It's like this different time of life. And crypto has a tendency to perform better in these months. So, it's kind of like it's got all the good things. So that's where we're at right now, guys. We're sitting at $37,700 for Bitcoin. You got the altcoin markets still continuing to range in the sign of strength phases, waiting for their breakouts to happen. XRP, definitely, absolutely nothing has changed since yesterday. It's sitting right where it was as of yesterday. There we go with the stock market. This will be the one to watch as we get ready for the month to come to a closeout. So if the Dow can close where it's at right now, so just opened up 210 points to the upside. If it closes right here, that's the highest monthly close dating back to the all-time high close. We have not closed a monthly candle that high since December of 2021 if we are able to maintain this throughout the rest of the day. And the story is also true over there for gold. This will be the highest monthly close for gold in all of history. So, again, neither one of them have gotten into their all-time highs, so they just continue to tease us on what is going to happen here in the market. The one thing that is interesting, though, is like we talked about yesterday, is that this momentum for the DXY is likely to slow down here pretty soon in regards to how fast it's been falling. You can see it did catch a nice bounce today. Now back at 103.43 here for the United States dollar currency index, or the DXY. Kind of pointing to these that, it seems like we're, in a crashing structure with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're kind of getting to a point where this momentum of this fall would start to slow down here for the DXY. So anybody cheering that this thing is crumbling to 2 or 50 or something like that, I just don't see it right now. But that, it's probably, I don't think it's going to like completely reverse on itself, but this thing is going to start kind of slowing down here quite a bit at this point. At least structurally, that's what typically happens in these circumstances. So as we kick off the day, though, the Dow still continues to rampage on. The S&P up slightly to flat. The NASDAQ down slightly to flat. So it's only down 2 points for the NASDAQ. The NDXT had a good day yesterday, up 1.5%. The NASDAQ Technology 100 sector, so that one ended up doing good. As we look at the market for leaders and losers as we get going, the leaders of the day are Roblox, United Health, and GE and Caterpillar, all Dow names right in here. Losers of the morning are going to be Coinbase, Ford, Tesla, and NVIDIA. Tesla, boy, Elon Musk taking some gambles out there yesterday, dropping the good old F-bomb on national television yesterday. We'll see how that pans out. Hey, man, I'm all about a good F-bomb, but you probably won't catch me doing it on my YouTube channel. But if we're hanging out, chilling, and there's like no kids around or something like that, I'm all about dropping a good F-bomb. Just, not here. But all right, there you go. Ended the month again on a positive note, right? So Bitcoin ended October down there in the 34s. I believe it ended at 34,400 for October. So ending November up here at 37,600. Again, another gain here in November. Again, the big question is that $38,000 level, being able to get our way through there. Total 3, total 2. These all still had slight grinds up here in the month. Obviously, the Dow crushing it this month. Stocks have crushed it this month. It's been a good month, but we're all still waiting for those big breakouts, right? We're waiting for sign of strength breakouts to happen in here for the altcoin market. We're waiting to see Bitcoin crack $38,000, and we're waiting to see if the Dow Jones can actually go into the all-time high with those indexes. So they're all kind of at these levels. We're like, hey, S or get off the pot. Let's do this. Are we going? Are we not going? Let's do it. But everything is kind of there at those levels of, can we get out? The story is here for the stock market. The story is there for Bitcoin. The story is there for the altcoin market. They're all at that level of like, hey, give us that oomph and give us the big show-stopping event, which a lot of times we do see there at the end of the year. So it's kind of what we're hoping for to be able to get our way going. Otherwise, I think that's really it in regards to actual markets today, like in regards to actual price action. You can see it's nothing huge here in the market. It's nothing huge. These are almost flat openings. NASDAQ down slightly. S&P nearly flat with the Dow open. That's really just a mixed bag over here in stocks as we get ready to close out the month. Everything is going to try to find where does it want to have its monthly close happen at. I think the biggest things to watch for are just going to be, hey, is the Dow going to end up having the highest monthly close that it's had since the peak, right? We have not had a monthly close this high dating back to December. Let's look at the NASDAQ. How about you? Same story goes with you. If you close here, that'll be the highest close that we've had dating back to the peak. And how about the S&P? S&P is a different story, right? S&P is one of those interesting ones because it is the one that exceeded the 4.236 extension, whereas the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the NASDAQ both did not. So it's been this interesting dynamic of saying, hey, is it possible for the Dow and the NASDAQ to hit the 4.236 extension, but the S&P is actually just going to kind of chill out? We'll see. But that's going to be the watch today. Can the Dow get that? Now up 225. Can we get the highest monthly close dating for the last 2 years, along with gold getting the highest monthly close for the entire history of its entire lifetime? It will never have had a monthly close that high before. So we'll see what happens as today comes to a conclusion, and then we'll summarize those results and how those things ended tomorrow when we come back for December 1st. The U.S. dollar currency index still continuing in that fall, now in a balance. See if there's like a little bit of a bullish divergence emerging in there, right? So that last fall did not have as much weakness as the prior ones had, as expected. This thing will probably start to slow down here a little bit in regards to the momentum of which it has been falling at. So we'll keep our eyes on that stuff. Otherwise, markets are still tame. Bitcoin's still in its grind. Altcoin market's still trying to work through its sign of strength phase. And we'll see how things go to end the month and hopefully have some type of rampage there into December. Heading over to financial news, taking a look here. Dow futures rise 200 points as benchmark nears new 2023 high. Ford reinstates 2023 guidance, says UAW deal to cost $8.8 billion over the life of the contract. Eurozone inflation sinks to 2.4% below expectations. So it sinks to 2.4%, which is below expectations. Looking over here at Bloomberg, they took it off the front page. They had the whole Elon Musk stuff there on the front page. I think they did. Maybe they didn't, because this was the whole thing you're seeing all over Twitter with Elon Musk dropping an F-bomb on national TV. He was on CNBC. So they're probably, oh, wait, it's right here. Elon Musk claims advertisers are trying to blackmail him and says, you know what he says. And he said it on CNBC. So they're going to get a nice little fine for dropping that one on daytime TV. I'm not sure if you could say it like after 9 p.m. I know you could say most things after 9 p.m. on cable TV. I don't know if you could say that one, though. Well, I know you can say most things after 9 or 10 p.m. or something like that. All right, biggest blowout in bonds since the 1980s. Sparks the everything rally. Stocks gain before U.S. inflation data. Euro sinks market wrap. Euro area inflation slows more than expected with 2%. Truce helps Israel stocks. Okay. Kissinger, diplomat who defined U.S. foreign policy, dies at 100. Israel and Hamas, Citadel and its peers are piling into the same trades. Regulators are taking notice. That's interesting. I'll try to read more on that when I can. I'm not behind a paywall like Bloomberg is. UN declares 2023 the hottest year ever as crucial COP28 summit nears. Banking escapees make billions from private credit boom. Okay. All right, let's take a look over here. Crypto news. Kathy Wood's ARK buys a 1.5 million SoFi shares as SoFi exits crypto. Bitcoin ETF will drive 165% Bitcoin price gain in 2024. Standard Chartered. I try to reiterate it so much. We have seen this exact same movie before, people. The whole Bitcoin ETF. It is like the spitting image of 2019 and 2020, and nobody talks about it. Nobody says, we went through this exact same thing in 2019 and 2020 where the ETF carrot was dangled, right? Everybody says it's going to get approved by January. Everybody. What's going to happen when it's not? Because I'm going to say it's not. I haven't been wrong yet, right? People are asking me in June, so is the Bitcoin ETF? No, it's probably just going to be a carrot continuing to be dangled in front of you. Now they all think it's going to be January. I'm telling you, it's probably still going to be a carrot dangled in front of you. What then? Right? It's just going to continue to get dangled. I even watched something from a congressman. Maybe it was Warren Davidson. I don't know who it was. Talking, and they're like going to push together some bill and stuff like that. And they need to get this bill passed before there's even like a chance of an ETF even getting approved, apparently, from what I saw when he was doing the interview. And that bill isn't even planned to be voted on until the first half of 2024. Definitely not January 10th or whatever all the Bitcoiners are saying that it's going to be. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't buy for a second that an ETF is going to drive the price up. I totally 100% believe, sincerely 100% believe, ETF is mark of the top. ETF is sell the news. ETF is goodbye, good night, Bitcoin, game over, done. Outrage that ChatGPT won't say slurs, Q star, Q asterisk, whatever it is, breaks encryption, 99% fake web AI. Research the dynamics of market manipulation before you jump in Bitcoin ETFs. Nobody's jumping into Bitcoin ETFs, all right? I'm just going to say it. Nobody's ever going to do it because it's not going to happen. And if it does, I'm selling all my Bitcoin. All right, crypto exchange FTX gets nod to sell 800. And that is not me being a jerk, by the way. I've shown you guys all that data. Every single financial product for Bitcoin marks a reversal. Every one. You think this time is different? No way. No way. Crypto exchange FTX gets nod to sell 800. But BCB, don't you know financial advisors are going to get compensation plans and they're going to be incentivized to sell it to people? And that was going to drive demand. No, you're just living in a fantasy. Crypto exchange FTX gets nod to sell $873 million of assets to repay creditors. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Front run, Solana. All right, Cristiano Ronaldo is sued for promoting Binance and unregistered securities. Kyber swap DEX hacker sends an on-chain message. Be nice or else. Clear runway opens for Bitcoin ETF approvals in January. There you go. Bitcoin mining firm Phoenix Group delays share listing. SEC seeks public input on Franklin Templeton #DEX Bitcoin ETFs. Wow. 4 of the 10 headlines were about Bitcoin ETFs. Why is that? Because there's literally nothing else to talk about with Bitcoin. It's the only thing there is. Like, that nobody buys the store of value narrative. How can you have store of value when you just go up and down 80%, right? You say, well, that's still the store of value. Well, then so is everything. So is anything and everything. Google stock is a store of value. Gold is a store of value. Comic books are a store of value. Literally anything and everything is a store of value. So you're just attaching a general thesis, a general name to something that everything already has. It already has that property of store of value. But if it goes up and down 80%, okay. But on a long enough time horizon, it continues going up. Well, so does Google stock. Store of value too. Volcano magic isn't working. I think anybody with half of a brain does not look at Michael Saylor with any type of general seriousness. Like who isn't in crypto, right? They see that guy and think, wow, that guy's nuts. So we're kind of really heavily on this ETF thing right now. But, we went through that in 2019 and 2020. It really was like every single day, and that everything was about ETF. I know I'm talking about that a lot, but it's because we get over here to the news, and this is the only thing they talk about. So it just gives me rambling. I'm moving on. Oh, gosh. Front page, CoinDesk. World's largest Bitcoin futures ETF breaks 2021 record highs for assets under management. Okay. They know it, man. Retail, they want ETF. ETF is sell news, sell news, sell. I am going to sell. I'm going to sell on an ETF day. For sure. Okay. Move on. How are we doing with interest rate hikes? Interest rate meeting, FOMC meeting is scheduled for 13 days from right now. We're at 96% probability that we will not be hiking. So that's interesting too, because I was looking at this, right? Here's Fed funds rate. Here's gold. Let's put us on a daily time frame. All right. So like we would technically already be in the pause, right? So this would be like our fourth period of pause, right? And like you go through that and like how long last pauses were. So I've got gold on the screen and then I've got federal funds, right? Like our last pause lasted about 185 days. So like you don't really know you've already entered the pause period until you're kind of already deep into it. And like hard to believe it that, like this is delayed. So we're actually way over here, right? We're actually already 122 days into being paused. And so kind of having to recognize that and accept that and say like, okay, we're already in the pause and we've already been in it for 4 months, over 4 months right now. The last one lasted 185 days. We're on day 122. I think this one lasted almost a year, right? So this pause lasts almost a year, 369 days. Let's see what the Dow, right? There we go. Right. So markets rally into pausing, right? Then Fed cuts, right? So Fed cuts here. There's like one more little thing, and then S hits the fan, and then we start going, right? But you can see gold does okay into that, right? Gold does okay here as the Dow is falling with interest rates falling because S is hitting the fan. Gold is like, S is hitting the fan, let's go up, and then we move over here, right? Where's our pause? Okay. So here's our pause here, and then we still get a kind of a rally in both, but the Dow is not able to sustain itself and gold is able to sustain itself. So there becomes this tricky part that, when cuts do start, like we historically do see things do well during the pause, and it's not consistent on being like, hey, we're at 185 days. That's as long as they ever do pause, and then we're done. No, I mean, just look at the last two pauses. The last one was 6 months. The one prior to that was actually 12 months. And then we got a little washy. This thing's breaking on me here. All right, how long was this one? This one was 6 months as well. So right now we're at 4 months. So we're 4 months into the pause, and we look at the last three that we've had. 2 of them were 6 months long. 1 of them was 1 year long. Historically, we do well into the pause. Once we actually have our first cut, the market seems to do okay into the first cut or two. But at that point, it's like you're playing with a lot of fire and historical data that goes against you at that point. But into the pause, historically okay, and we're in it. We're 4 months in it. The last 3, 2 of them were 6 months long. 1 of them was 1 year long, and we have now gone 4. So we'll keep our eyes on that baby moving forward. But as we wrap up the month, dang, all right, there you go. Dow Jones up 272 points, looking to have its highest monthly close and exceeding that peak right there, which is cool to see. Come here, you. There we go. We just popped right there above the August high right in there. What a wild one, man. Yeah, I mean, if you say, what do I think, man, of that happening there? Things we've watched, what were the concerns we had in here in the last months? Like that we were taking out these new lows, right? We didn't take this one out. So what do we do? We're continuing the march, man. I feel like a washing machine because it is like one. This is like a washing machine, but the fact that we keep getting through the retracement levels, like we're through all of them again. We hold that low down in here, and then to go set that high there, it's a hard argument to think it won't set a new all-time high, and it won't go do that. By setting that high there right now this morning. And so I would think the odds improved there. No question. Sloshing washing machine for a whole year. Right? This is back to where's late November. There's late November right there. Just an absolute washing machine for a whole year. But to continue marching like that, it seems the probabilities are favorable for that high. So, dude, what a wild ride. What a weird year. But yeah, there we go. Gold, we'll see how it closes there. If we get the highest monthly close for gold, and then Bitcoin 37,600. So, all right, there we have it. The ranges continue on for the altcoin market. The range continues on for Bitcoin. The big thing of the day, Dow Jones Industrial Average having a killer of a day. We'll take it. The NDXT obviously had a great day yesterday, got up to that last retracement level, but we still see marching happening over there in the Dow. As for news, nothing huge there. They're just doing the ETF carrot dangle still to keep people engaged and to keep people buying 38K. Yeah, there you go. I think the thing I'm watching today, I don't think it's a whole lot going on in crypto today, right? If you're looking for like crazy crypto action, unless some liquidation occurs or a breakout happens, obviously there just really isn't any price action over there in crypto. I think for markets in general, the things that kind of have my attention today are just going to be the Dow. That just set a new high dating back to February 2022. That's awesome. And keeping my eyes over there on gold to see if it's going to get its highest monthly close for the year, for the last 3 years, for all time. Highest monthly close for all time. If we get that end up happening today. So I think those are the two things to really pay attention to today. Dow Jones Industrial Average, can you close this high? And then gold, can you close this high too? Those are the two interesting things. I think crypto is pretty tame unless we get some type of breakout happening, which we know that's really what we're waiting on. We're waiting for some type of breakout to happen as our ranges just happen. So we'll sit here and just say, our range continues today, guys. But if we want to see where action is happening at to get kind of a broader feel for the markets, it seems like we're getting it over here in the Dow, almost up 300, and seeing it over there in gold to try to close out the month. So those are the two areas I'm watching today. Crypto kind of tame. All right. On that note, again, if you want something to do today to wrap up your month, I just put out a doozy of a newsletter with a 28-minute audio recording in there where I read it to you guys. We're talking about inflation. We're talking about how that related to returns back in 2018 through 2021 and the impact those had on returns. There's a lot of dogma out there in the crypto market that the Bitcoin block reward halving is the thing that triggers it to go on to these big bull runs. Essentially, what's going to happen with the Bitcoin block reward halving, which is anticipated to occur in April of 2024, so approximately 5 months from right now, is that the block reward halving will cut the inflation rate down from 1.75% to 0.875%. Bitcoiners hang their hat on the magic and the fantasy of magic that is the driver of pushing the price into new all-time highs and starting entire new cycles. I'm not here to argue that. I have a different opinion on that. But the big question is, are they right? Does having that low of an inflation rate have any impact on returns in a bull run? So we go through the top 100 dating back from 2018 to see how they do in 2021 based on their inflation rates from 2019 to 2020 before the bull run really kicked off, to see if there was any relationship there between inflation rates. Does having a super low inflation rate matter? Does having a super high inflation rate negatively impact price returns? Or somewhere in the middle, okay. Did a lot of research. Took me way too many hours. I'm tired, man. I was recording this thing at 9 o'clock at night last night. Normally I wrap everything up early in the day, but then I watch The Simpsons with my daughter before we go to bed. And so usually I'm done with watching The Simpsons with her by about 8 o'clock at night. But we were in here. She's like, Dad, can I just hang out with you while you do this? And she sat there at 9 o'clock at night. I'm recording it. And I wanted to record it yesterday because here's a weird fact about being a YouTuber. My voice is actually much better later in the day than it is in the morning. And you would think your voice, and it's like, yeah, like there's a night and day difference between what it's like at 4 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, 12 noon, or 5 p.m. And you would think, normally by the time we get to markets in the morning, my voice is pretty warmed up and we're pretty good to go. But my voice is like absolute magic. Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why. It's like all warmed up. It's good. It's ready to go. Now crush it. And so like I wanted to record this thing last night while my voice was still really strong and not have to record it at 4 o'clock in the morning today. So she sat on the couch next to me for over a half an hour while I recorded this thing late last night. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but there you go. I did. Anyway, this thing is released. Again, this is like the third iteration of going through altcoin data, trying to solve what were the things that could have improved odds during the last bull run to find those data points that had some type of impact to improve the odds off of that 20 to 22% success rate that took place there in the top 100 back in 2021. Again, there does seem to be some correlation here to inflation data. You could check that out over here on blockchainbacker.substack.com. Of course, you guys can always check out bcbacker.com. Let's go ahead and dive into the chat. Okay. Michael J. Love, before we even started the stream, thank you very much, sir. You had gifted a BCB membership. Here I am acknowledging you nearly 45 minutes later. Brother, thank you very much. Chase Pearson says, are you bullish on Coinbase? Guys, I said it at the time, but you guys don't want to listen. At $45, I was buying Coinbase. So now Coinbase is getting to, it's getting to levels where I, losing interest in it. Do we still have this on here? These are all the drawings. These drawings have always been here, right? This is the accumulation zone that we were in. Now we're getting here into these levels. This is, of course, where retail is wanting to pile in now. But now we're getting near these danger zones. So these things have been on here for the last year. To be bullish on Coinbase means you are just following the crowd at this point. The opportunity was way down in here, and we talked all about that stuff. Buying in the 40s and lower 50s back in 2022 and early 2023. The prices are getting up there a little bit. Definitely not as appealing as it once was. I mean, at this point, you're up 274%. What happens? All your favorite content creators come out and say, see, I'm a bull on Coinbase now. You should have been a bull a long time ago. So, the returns there just aren't there. Like anything beyond, like at this point where we're at right now, kind of sketchy just being in here with how high it is now at this point. And this is, of course, where all of retail is now getting bullish together on Twitter. I see it every single day. The people who are very low alpha but have huge followings. They're getting bullish right now. They're real bullish in this last 2 weeks on Coinbase. It's already gone way up. It's gone up over 200%, almost three. Let's be real. What's the number? 313. We actually called it to $30, guys. If you don't remember in here, the call was saying Coinbase would crash to $30. I got to 31. And then now it's back here. It's just, it's done a lot. Will it keep going? Maybe. But outside of this, it's just like the Solana people, right? They wouldn't go after Solana at the lower prices until all the hype hits Twitter and all your favorite content creators are talking about it. Then people want to pile into it. You got to remember, I'm going to tell you the truth about content creation, right? A lot of people don't know what they're doing, and that's not just to take a shot at them. Maybe it is, but the reality is people also want to protect their brand. As a content creator, I take a lot of risks on my channel, man. I'll say my thoughts. I'll say what I think. Sometimes I'll be wrong. You take it on the chin a little bit for that and stuff like that. Some people are unwilling to take that risk. And what you find with retail investors is retail investors love to run with the herd. They want to do what everyone else is doing because they feel safety if everyone else has the same opinion as them. If everybody else has the same opinion as them, then they feel more comfortable in the decision that they're making. But the herd, the group collectively, is typically wrong. They're all operating on emotions. They're all piling in at the same time. They're the mass exit liquidity, or they're the mass, they're selling liquidity, whatever it is. They're all going to operate at the exact same time. So what happens is a lot of content creators are in that same boat, that they don't want to go out on a ledge and say something different than what the masses are saying, because they can seek safety by saying what every other content creator is doing as well. And if they're wrong, then it's well, look, everybody was kind of wrong on this, right? We all kind of thought the same thing, and we ended up being wrong. And you're more willing as a viewer to forgive somebody if everybody kind of saw the same thing, and we could all see why you thought that, because we all thought the same thing together. And so as a content creator, we'll make content that is in line with everything else. I'm opposite of that, man. I'm a total jerk. I come on here at the tops. I'll take it on the chin and say I think it's going to crash. At the lows, I spent a year and a half fighting with people telling me we're going to 12K, doing the opposite. I become spicy, become an a-hole. That's just what my channel is. And I'm not scared to take the brand risk of being wrong, or a backlash, or people talking trash about me. But a lot of people do a lot of content creation is let me do exactly what everybody else is doing because there's more safety for my brand there. There's more safety for my content to do exactly what everybody else is doing. Because if I'm wrong, everybody else is wrong too. And I'm not going to be alone on that island looking like an idiot. Hey, I'm blockchain backer. I have no problem. I'll look like an idiot all day. But that's what happens. And so like with Coinbase, nobody was being a bull down here. It was just talking trash about it. And then now they all want to be bulls together and they feel safety because they can all do it together. This was one of those ones down here. We're talking about it now. Up here, it's losing its luster to it because the percentages are way up. But this was the opportunity, and that opportunity for awesome gains is gone. And that doesn't mean it's not going to rise to here. Like people would lose their mind if it still rose to right here. But I'm such a man of math. And to say like, that's 104 to get all the way up there. The opportunity for the bigger percentage was down here. And that's what I care about. So am I bullish on Coinbase? These things have always been here. And we're at this point where the percentages are just way lower than what they once were. And the concern I have is I see the low alpha out there. They're now all bullish on Coinbase. It's the same thing as the low alpha who were totally hedged their wording for the last year and a half between 12K, 23K, 20K, I don't know. To now at 38K, they all get bullish together. That's concerning too, because we talked a lot about us getting to 38K, and that there's a reason to be nervous at 38K, and you watch the low alpha all get bullish there too, and those same low alphas, they're bullish on Coinbase too. So I don't know. It's hard to read that and say that is something like important, and I'm not here to talk anyone in particular. These are life lessons. These are important crypto lessons. If you don't know that, when we watch these huge transitions, because they happen so quickly, just a month and a half ago, like people always think it's impossible to happen when we're in the middle of the moment, when S is hitting the fan, and when people feel like garbage, and people think there's no hope in this market and that we are going to 12K. It can take less than a month later, and the entire sentiment of the market is entirely changed. And everybody is bullish, and everybody is euphoric, and that can always happen on a flip of a dime. And living in these moments, I have to remind of that, and people don't remember it in that moment. And then it eventually comes, and we're just all of a sudden, we're all fine. Nobody's got the fear anymore. Everybody's super happy and super excited all together now. So I speak very bluntly sometimes. My goal is to be a nice guy. My goal is not to be a jerk, because I come from a place of gratitude, of knowing that I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm at as a YouTuber with this size following. Super ridiculously lucky. And I think about it all the time that if this wasn't a defining feature of my life, I don't know who I'd be. This is who I am. Blockchain backer. But it's also part of me to just speak it, how it is. And I'm not scared when all the content creators herd together to be bearish here, and then we all flip bullish together. It's like, we never learn. We never learn. All right, I'm gonna stop. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, man. Chase, you're just like, dude, I only asked if you're bullish on Coinbase. Thank you, brother. Freezy asks, how do you compare assets like Near? On Dev Report and Sentiment, they have such different data. BCB, you are a god. Love your content, brother. Near. We can do it for fun. Let's just look at it. All right. We will try. All right. So things we know about the market right now. We know that the market in general is in a downtrend of total developers, right? Um, and we know that that's true for full time, that's true for part time, and for one time. Active developers is down too. And we could see here the kind of the baselines of what they are. Negative 28% total, negative 24% full-time, negative 27% part-time. Who cares about one time, right? They're just such a small segment and they barely contribute anything. The biggest contributors here are the full-timers and then somewhat part-timers, but mostly full-timers in here. So 28% on total, 24% negative on full-time. So let's go find near. There's near. Yikes. Negative 60% on full-time devs, negative 63% on total devs. Let's go look over here. Okay. Doom City over there, according to developer report in regards to total development activity and at least in total active developers. Remember, we were at negative 28% on total, and we were at negative 24% on full time. So this looks really bad right out the gates, right? Okay, looking over here at total monthly commits, totally monthly commits actually doesn't look bad, right? We actually see that it's actually still sustaining itself okay. So when it comes to actual activity and actual development that's happening in here, the numbers don't look too bad. However, the total number of developers is definitely dropping like flies. So, you know, kind of conflicting things there because we go through, we'll look at other assets, and usually what we'll see is if we see total developers in such a decline like this, we're usually going to see a big decline happening over here in actual activity as well. Because what would this have to mean? This would have to mean that all of this decline is happening, like the total number of people actually working on this thing, like down from, like just the part-timers down from 838 down to 279, the full-timers down from 294 down to 104, yet we're still continuing to climb on actual commits and development activity happening on here. That means that each developer is doing 3 to 4 times more work than they were. I don't know. A little weird. Let's go ahead and pull up sentiment. No. Screener, right? Been a couple of days since I've done this. I haven't looked at it since we talked with those guys on Friday. All right. There we go. And we'll go by dev activity. This always takes a minute. All right. There we go. So near, are you in the top? I think it is like in the top, right? Where are you? Near protocol. So there you go. You're coming in at number 14, right? So there you are. Total activity. Near protocol. There you go. Is that price? We're looking at price. Yeah. So then what we'll do is we'll come down here. We'll look at development, total development activity. We'll apply for a new chart. There you go. Where are you? We're going to zoom out. Let's put you on 7 days. So we can't trust this, right? Because we know this isn't a complete week. So like I'd come back in here. Like I'd never trust this last week ever because they always look like this on all of them. But what would you say? I would say like in particular, like development activity isn't bad. But what's one thing we do know? We do know that like it tends to be that developers flock back when price rises, right? So we saw Near's price rise a little bit there over the last couple of weeks. And so no, you can see development activity is actually rising prior to the price rises. That's interesting. So yeah, you do have a little bit of a conflict in here, right? And so then you have to kind of balance out which one has value for you. So like when I do my next newsletter, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking all this stuff. We're going to be taking inflation data. We're going to be taking percentage drawdown data, and then we're going to be taking development activity, developer growth. We're going to take all of those and try to see, can we find like what would have been the combination to use to like apply towards like the 2018 through 2021 assets to like optimize like your best portfolio chances, right? What would have been all the combinations of them to use? And this will be a good trust one right in here for situations that are like this, because what do we see happening in here? I'd argue like dev activity, it's okay, right? Like it's still kind of there, right? Like you could still see there's still dev activity happening in there by full-time developers. That stuff hasn't really changed happening in here, and total commits hasn't really changed. But at the same time, massive drop off in full-time developers. So like you'd kind of almost like give it, like if you're going to have like a box score and you're like, here we go, I'm going to buy 10 assets and I'm going to like, there's check marks that I'll give it. And then there's X's that I'm going to get it. Like, how is its inflation rate? Its inflation rate is good. Check mark. How is its percentage drawdown compared to other drawdowns? Oh, it had a shallower drawdown than everything. Okay, check mark. That's good. Okay, how is its monthly commits? Oh, it's still in an uptrend. Check mark. That's good. How are its full-time devs? In massive decline. Okay, X. That's bad. And then like keep going through different categories, and then at the end, like give it a score at the end, right? And then be like, all right, so these ones scored like 4 out of 5 stars. These ones scored 3 out of 5 stars. These ones scored 5 out of 5 stars. And if you had like built a portfolio based on those particular things, how would you have done, right? That's kind of like what my thought process is going into for the next newsletter that I'm going to do, and like applying all those different things and trying to give them like scores. And this will be one of those interesting kind of ones where we still see there's development activity happening on here, but where are the developers going? And how are the ones that are staying still doing all the work? That's the interesting thing, right? So yeah, that's a difficult one. It's a good thing that you pointed it out. Not sure. Because this isn't common. This isn't what you usually see. If you're going to see a big fall in developers, you're usually going to see a big fall in development activity. But somehow, like this is one of the worst. Let's go look at it. Like that's pretty sus. Like here it is, like down here. This is like in the bottom 10% near of getting smashed of their full-time devs leaving. Look at that. Look how far down this list they are. In the bottom 10%. Yet somehow their commits are still at the same or up. That's a little sus. I don't know. That's a unique case for sure. All right, moving on. Thank you, Freezy. Mark Allaire says, hey CB, do you feel compelled to hold your XRP to higher targets than you otherwise would because of pressure for the XRP harmony as a whole? No, not at all. Not at all. They're going to hate me because I'm going to vocally say what I'm letting go. Say, how dare you? So it is what it is, man. No, I don't feel any of that. But I know I'll be hated, and I go into it knowing it's going to happen, man. But, I'd rather just say it than deal with it. But thank you, Mark. John Lively. Status was in the top 10 of developer datas, but number 187 by market cap. Would you take a flyer on coins like this? So Status is a weird one. Again, I haven't run all the different things on it in regards to like scoring it, right? Like that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to apply scoring systems to them with inflation, percentage drawdowns, and development activity. And I don't even know, do we even get one on here for status? I don't think we do. No, see, like even on developer report, Electric Capitalist developer report, we don't get a status. We don't get one on status. So it kind of depends, right? And I think it's one of those things on like how, like, a big challenge too, like when I'm going to create this thing where I'm going to try to compare like if we use these particular assets based on these particular variables of inflation, percentage drawdowns, and development activity, then also comes that challenge of allocation and portfolio management, right? Like let's say you had 10 grand and you were going to buy 10 different coins, right? In a perfect scenario of a perfect comparison of a portfolio that you'd essentially just divide it by 10. You put $1,000 in each one of them, right? But what the reality of our lives is we aren't usually like that. We're usually not building a portfolio of exact 10 coins with the exact same amount in each. Probably have more conviction in one than the other, and we have more allocation into one than another, right? And so then it comes down to like, well, maybe like you do 12 coins where 90% of it goes into 9 coins and then 10% goes into three different coins. So those other ones only get 3.33%, and that's where the complications come in. So as for status, like let me check one thing. One thing about status. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Is this the right one? Yeah. ADZ. Let's do this. Let's go. I'm going to assume you've read the newsletter. I'm just going to make the assumption. Right. Looks common to everything. I don't see anything alarming about this. The big question is, how big is this thing? It just barely makes it, right? So it's under 94%, right? So if you read the newsletter, you went through it, you saw the data on under 94%, the odds were improved if they were under 94% drawdowns, right? So, yeah, I mean, up to you, man. You probably, I'm not going to tell you, yeah, take a shot on it for sure. I don't own any, so I'll say that part. But I'm not opposed to owning any. I just like don't have my portfolio ready to like grab any. So I don't have any. You guys are going to freaking send this thing without me. I'm going to be left behind, and that'll just be live. But yeah, no, I don't know, man. It matches a lot of criteria, right? It's up there. It's high in development score. Well, it's in top 10, right? It did take a banger of a hit though already, right? Like what it went from 0.028 to 0.0678, right? Over 2x, it still sits up 45% from where that breakout happened. And remember, when we're looking at all these things, right? When we're looking at inflation, we're looking at, percentage drawdowns, and we're looking at development activity. That's all one part of the puzzle, right? All that is doing is we're trying to isolate down assets that like have a shot, right? We're trying to weed out the crap. We're trying to weed out the abandonment stuff, the pump and dump stuff, the stuff that was maybe VC pumped, right? And trying to figure out what had the higher probabilities. Then, once there's a list of assets, then we move over to the TA side, right? Then you start looking at support levels, breakout levels, resistance levels. There's still that whole other aspect to the game of having to look at the charts and pay attention to the charts and all that stuff. This is just more of like making sure you're not looking at the wrong charts, right? Looking at the garbage of the market and trying to figure out what was it that said it was garbage. Was there consistent qualities in 2021 for assets that ended up performing better? Were there consistent qualities of things that ended up being garbage? And right now, and like trying to figure those things out and weed through all that. In the end, we still have to come back over here and look at charts and see support levels. And you can see it's getting back to a support level, but there still could be support levels that are still even lower to really kind of back test that level. Or holding right here, and that's still kind of I look at it kind of wishy-washy, which is why I probably haven't grabbed it. If it came down in here, if it got down to back to 3 cents or mid threes or something like that, I probably, for me personally, and I'm not telling you what to do because a lot of you guys are emotional handbaskets. I'd take a blind shot in the dark and just throw at it, put it away, and not look at it again until it takes off or something like that. For me, there's kind of my thoughts on it. But as it's right here, I kind of know. I'm taking a pretty big shot 26% higher than I'd really like it to be for me to kind of blindly fire at it. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it. I'm not opposed to adding it to my bag. Am I wanting to make it like 10% of my portfolio? Probably not, just because I don't know enough about it. But it checks a lot of boxes. All right, thank you, John. Mr. Q, member for 7 months. Hey, BCB, what do you think of ADA? What's your target this run for ADA? Thanks for all you do. Yo, fam, hit the like. It's free. Come on. Yeah, I like ADA. In the event that there is a bull run in crypto and that there are altcoins that go into all-time highs, ADA is one of my favorites. I understand as a community, I really stay out of a lot of the drama between coins, you guys. And I know there's so much of it out there. I know there's so much drama between, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, the Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, all that stuff. Man, I stay out of that. Like none of that matters to me. It's all about making money. And what, things I think have higher probabilities. ADA checks the boxes of so much stuff. Just so much. Inflation rate, percentage drawdown, development activity, development growth, leadership, community, social scores, everything. Like ADA hits all the boxes, guys. Whether you hate Charles Hoskinson or not, it hits all the boxes. So if there is a bull run, I'm definitely in the camp that I think ADA is going to be one of the big ones. ADA is my top 5 holdings. It may be number 3. It's that high. No, it's not number 3. It's number 4, right? For me, it's XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. So Cardano is number 4. And I think, based on the market cap and the price structure of it, if there's a full-blown bull run in altcoins, I don't see it. I see it getting close to $10. So I like it. And like you said, yo, fam, hit the like. Yo, we're on only 832. Let's go. All right. Life of Shane says, BCB, you noticed previously gold and Dow don't rise together. Do you know why this time is different? Nope. So you're misconstruing my words. What does this mean? Is a crash with one next? See, that's the problem when people got to pay attention to the wording. Like it's very clear. It's not that they don't rise together. They don't go into bull runs together. Right? Definitely. When we're in ranges, we see it constantly of them going up. So this time is not different. These are still all ranges. They're all ranging in price behavior. But we've never seen full-blown bull runs happening. And in the end, you still have gold stuck in here. You still have the Dow Jones Industrial Average stuck in here. They're both just ranging. Liquidity flows are happening in the markets. But we have never had it, right? In 100 years of data, never had it where Dow Jones goes into a full-blown bull run and gold goes into a full-blown bull run. And we can look through these periods here. No, I don't want it like this. I want... No. Why are you not behaving? Right, okay, so the price of gold is fixed, right? Dow sideways for 30 years, right? When is this? 1965 to 1982, right? Boom, boom. Look at this monster bull run in gold, right? We get to the peak here. When does this happen? 1980, gold enters into a bear market. What happens? Stock market, rampaging bull. What happens? We hit the peak. Bubble pops, right? .com bubble, right? What happens? You have the Dow stop, broadening wedge, ranging, higher lows, higher highs. It's just another sideways range. What happens? Gold rampages up into a bull run. Then what happens here? We have the Dow Jones finally leave, right? The Dow Jones leaves and goes off into a new bull. What happens in here? Then you enter into the bear, especially once you break from the high. The true breakdown of gold happens where it goes from 1750 and it just keeps on crumbling its way all the way back down to $1,000. I believe it hits into the 9s as well. And then, just nothing going on here for gold. Rampaging, then C19 happens, right? We start we start cutting rates again. We go through a cutting cycle here, over here, like we just showed earlier in the stream. And then still continuing to range happening in here. No big bull for gold as of yet. Nice big run up in here. But again, if this is just massive distribution happening up here for the Dow Jones, which I suspect it is, even if the Dow goes into a new all-time high, like we know, 4.236 extension is only 10% away. That's also how high the roaring 20s went before the Great Depression happened. The story is the same over there for the NASDAQ also. And these are on different time frames, right? We're using measurements here for the Dow Jones from 2007 to get to the 4.236 extension. Whereas over here on the NASDAQ, we're actually using it from the dot-com bubble pop that we even are just right over here near the 4.236 extension. And these are the exact same things that we saw over there in Bitcoin and Ethereum back in 2021, right? We get up above the 3.618 extension, pull back, go on, hit the all-time high, lights out, game over, the fun is done. I think we are in the same type of distribution happening over here in the stock market right now. So even if they kind of poke a little bit higher, could it be trickery? It could be. We don't have all the data to go back to... let's do this. And this makes it real obvious, right, on what the challenges are here. If this is this time frame right in here, right, for the Dow, right, if this is that peak. The price of gold was fixed here. So we don't have like a historical thing to go on here in this particular environment to know what would happen. But what we know is that the big crash came, the government said, give us the gold back, and then repriced it to 34, 35, right? And then, after they finally take it off of fixed pricing, the Dow runs flat for 15, 20 years, and we go into a bull. Then finally, we're done. Dow goes into bull, we go into bear. Dow goes into bear, we go into bull, right? It's just the same thing. But no true bull runs of breakout bull runs. They don't happen together, right? Let's see if we can. Why won't these things lay in each other? Either way, you see it. Let's do this. How about, can we go like, okay, I can't do it. Forget it. But there you go. So your question is, what makes this time different? You said they can't rise together. No, the argument has always been bull runs. All right. Hey, BCB. Puneet. Member for moments. Hey, BCB, what are your thoughts on developer data and sentiment for XRP? When 12K. Thanks for everything you do. You're the best. Thank you, bro. I know that when 12K is a joke. I appreciate the kind words. What are your thoughts on developer data and sentiment for XRP? Sentiment comes and goes. It's constantly extremes and extremes only. It is, with XRP, it is one or the other. It is either absolute insane euphoria or I hate life. And that's how it always has been. 2 weeks ago, utter euphoria. We saw it, 4,000 people here in the stream, 4,400 concurrent viewers here in the stream in euphoria. Now, what are we at 2 weeks later? Utter depression, hates life. Welcome to XRP. Welcome for what you signed up for. XCal Lion says, I hate XRP right now. Well, of course. This is what it is, right? So, I don't have all my eggs in the XRP basket, right? I own a lot of it, but, I know what I'm in. I know that this is part of the game. My wife, I told the story, like literally, I tried to explain it to you guys in the thick of the moment. The day we did that, before I even started that live stream that day, XRP is over 70 cents. We're in the kitchen. I haven't started markets in the morning yet. My wife comes up to me as I'm making my breakfast and says, hey, XRP is over 70 cents right now, right? And I go, yeah, I know. She goes, why don't you seem very excited about it? And I go, well, we're back in retracement levels. And a lot of times when we see this extreme excitement, this is the end of the move. I go live. We have 4,400 people watch it. It marks the top of that move, right? So people it's how it is. So sentiment. I think sentiment's the impossible thing to read on XRP because We're the most chaotic, crazy nut people out of emotionally out of all of them. We get nuts. But when it comes to like developer data, right? So like it's mixed, right? So the thing, here's the positive stuff, right? If I'm blind, there we go. All right, developer data, right? Good, green. What? We were just looking at other stuff, right? We were looking at near garbage, right? We were looking at the market average, garbage. Look at all that green on XRP, right? So there you go. First things first. Nice to see that, right? So we have, developers are active, developers are doing their things, commits are happening, developers are here, they're not running away. Look at all this stuff. All of that is good. The thing is, we just don't have a tremendous amount of developers. And I think that's something I was talking about that this morning, that like, it feels like we need to have more developers in XRP. And there must be some problem that I need to talk to some devs about. Maybe I'll hit up Veets event and see what he says. But just like, for being the number 4 asset, we just don't have a tremendous amount of developers, right? Like you would think, like to give like a ballpark idea of like sheer number of developers, right? Like here you go. Here's total developers on Ethereum. 5,769. Total on Polkadot, 1,811. Cosmos, 1,414. Bitcoin, 951. Solana, 946. Polygon, 878. Way down here, XRP, 174. Your number 4 asset by market cap, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Coin, XRP. Number 4. But you're ranked like number 26 when it comes to total devs, and total full-time devs sitting at 39. Look at this, right? There's clearly something here that makes it difficult for developers not to want to come develop on XRP. The developers that are there are active, they're doing stuff, but like to open it up big time, there must be a cutoff point, a choking point that is happening there, deterring people from wanting to come develop on the XRP ledger. So I think that's something we'll look onto here in the next couple of weeks and see if there's things we can do to encourage more development on the XRP ledger. Because that's just from a sheer volume, you see it yourself, right? The activity is there, the developers are developing, but the sheer number of them, way down here, right? Way down here when you got this kind of stuff, right? And a lot of that is a community issue. Like I hate to say that. We are so focused on conspiracies and Ripple IPO stock is going to be the thing that sends XRP. Now here, go click on my affiliate link and buy Ripple IPO, right? It's so focused on the conspiracy of who's going to use XRP to catapult it to new levels than actually as a community supporting development and supporting growth. Like when NFTs came out, right? It was a really great shot for us to like gain some traction in the communities. We fumbled it, right? It's going to take a community to get it back. You're solving a lot of the problems there when it comes to transaction fees and speed compared to Ethereum. But as a community, we still just like, no way, man. No way. Conspiracies of quantum financial system and the ECB, along with quantum gold, is sending XRP to the moon. And I'm going to buy some Ripple IPO stock. When we really need to be worrying about getting developers on here, building it, creating interest in the community, and getting people using XRP for stuff. Okay. So that's what we should do, guys. That's what we should do. If you're just sitting back, if you're like David, you're saying XRP is disappointing, I hope you're doing more, man. I hope you're like I hope you have a Zone wallet, bro. I hope you're actually partaking like NFTs. I hope you're doing stuff and like goofing off on Sologenic. I mean, I hate Solo, right? Goofing off and interacting with it and not watching YouTube videos of quantum financial system Ripple IPO stock. You know what I mean? Saucy backer, yeah. And David, I love you. You're a huge supporter of the channel, but I had to do it. All right, I am moving on. Pat. Out strong, man. Dude, I'm at an hour and 15 minutes. Holy crud, on the last day of the month. I gotta go. I gotta wrap this thing up. All right. Pat, man, bro, appreciate it, man. He gifted 20 memberships, you guys, and he stays up so late to do that. And of course, he did that 35 minutes ago. He's like, basically, it's 3 a.m. Can you just address me right away so I can go to sleep? So he's probably not even here. He's probably sleeping right now. Thank you, brother. Oscar Hernandez followed him up with gifting a BCB membership as well. Thank you, Oscar. And then Ace Boogie says, can I get the 702 crew to say in BCB we trust? I don't know. You'll have to ask them in the chat. Wick said, can you recommend other YouTube content creators? I think people sleep too much on Crypto Eddie, who has a finger on the pulse of the Asian market. Yeah, Crypto Eddie, I think she's honest. I think she delivers good content. I personally don't watch too much crypto content. I do a lot more like reading. So yeah. But Crypto Eddie, I'm a big supporter of her all the way. But thank you, Wick, and thank you, Ace. Crypto Doggy Dog gifted 5 memberships, man. Thank you very much. Crypto Doggy Dog, you've been coming out strong the last couple of days. I really appreciate the support, man. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like and leave 2 grays behind. When members only live. Yeah, we got to get that. It can't be today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. I'm not going to promise, but once I get through today, the last day of the month is literally the hardest day of my life every month. So let's get through this one, and then we'll figure it out. Andy Philpott, ask me tomorrow, and I will solidify a day. Okay? For sure. Thank you, Oscar. Andy Philpott gifted 5 BCB memberships. Andy, thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. You guys are way too generous. Thank you. JR Flight says, you mentioned BCH GMing. What do you see? I don't know how long ago that was. I don't know. Bitcoin Cash. I mean, good luck. Go look at developer data. There's nothing going on with Bitcoin Cash, right? Right. The only thing that could happen for Bitcoin Cash is you would need a series of wild events to occur, like ETF or something like that, which I don't know. Which I have to be careful just even saying weird stuff like that, where I'm like, I don't know. I kind of made a goofball thing yesterday. I don't know what we were goofing off. I'm like, yeah, and then the Fed has 13% interest rates and or something like that. And I got a DM yesterday, and I'm not poking fun at him. We had a nice conversation last night. He was like, hey, so I had a question if you could elaborate more about something you said in a video yesterday. You said you were thinking about, when the markets fall and the Fed pushes it up to 13% interest rates that you plan on buying treasuries. I'm like, well, wait a minute, man. I was actually just joking. I was totally laughing and goofing off when I said 13% interest rates. I have no clue what the Fed is going to do. No clue. And I have no clue about any narratives with Bitcoin Cash. Just, one of those, nah. Just disappointing. And again, one of those things you watch from 2018 through 2020. You look at the transaction volumes. You look at the activity. They've all just depleted. Yeah. Stephen Edinburgh, a great newsletter lately. Thank you for all you do. Here every day, and I appreciate your guidance. Dude, Stephen, thank you, man. Member for 6 months. Hot Tub Brian. Man, it's been a while. Hot Tub Brian gifted 5 BC backer memberships. Brother, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, Vinny the Elf says smash the like. Vinny the Elf says smash the like or you hate Christmas. If you like saving elves, smash the like. All right, we're done. We're done. It's an hour and 20 minutes. I've been here way too long. Again, guys, if you're subscribed over here on blockchainbacker.substack.com, that was the big work of the day, the release of the day. Putting that out there this morning. Again, there's a link over there in the description of this video. A 28-minute audio recording of me doing this thing, going through inflation. I'm not going to give you the whole pitch on that again. Either you want it or you don't. You want to get educated or you don't. I put in a doozy of work on it. I'm whooped. But dang, man, there's some alpha in the last month and a half here on this newsletter, dude, with all this data. All right, that's going to be it, you guys. Man, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm beat, and I have a lot of work I still have to do. And of course, for the support, you guys, and always being here every day. I thank you all so much, and I hope that you've all had a good November. It seems like it's been a pretty decent November over here in crypto. Nothing crazy like we saw in October, but definitely upward grinds and at least holding flat here throughout November after the big breakout that happened back there in October. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's Markets in the Morning. Keep an eye out for the Dow Jones for the highest monthly close in the last 2 years, and keep your eyes out for the gold price chart to have the highest monthly close in history. On that note, I'm wrapping it up, and I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.